I'm Emily Carter, a 32-year-old office worker. I married my husband, Sean, 5 years ago, but we don't have any children. Currently, I'm a part-time homemaker, striving daily to balance work and household chores. Lately, Sean has been making excuses like I'm busy with work and spending less time at home. Sean, you seem busy with work lately. Will you be home late again today?
Yeah, I've got a lot on my plate with a new project.
Even when Sean is home, he seems to be frequently messaging someone. Sean, who are you messaging? It's just a coworker. Nothing to worry about. I've been feeling uneasy these days. I have a sister named Mary. Mary is 29 years old, a stay-at-home mom, and has a 5-year-old son named Harold. She seemed happy when she first got married, but recently she's been neglecting housework and childcare and going out more often. Mary's husband, John, is an engineer and has a busy daily schedule, so it took him a while to notice his wife's behavior. John also started feeling uneasy about Mary's actions, and he was becoming more isolated within their home. I understand that being a stay-at-home mom is tough, but it's concerning that she's neglecting housework and childcare and going out all the time. I decided to talk to Mary about it. Mary, why have you been leaving the house so much lately? I heard Harold is left alone a lot. He's only 5 years old. That's not fair to him. You're his mom.
I know, but I feel suffocated staying at home all the time. I just need a little break.
But Harold misses you. He says his mom isn't around.
I know. It's just for a little while.
I had doubts about Mary's words, but didn't push further. However, Mary's absences from home increased afterward. One day, I decided to visit Mary and John's house on my day off. When I opened the front door, Harold greeted me, crying,
Emily, Mom left again.
Mary had left home. She abandoned her childcare responsibilities. Harold, it's okay, I'm here with you. When I walked into the living room, the place was a mess and half-eaten food was left on the table. Harold was bewildered and looked lonely, so I decided to stay with him until John came home. When John returned, I asked him, John, is it true that Mary left home?
Yes. She hasn't come back since the day before yesterday. Apparently, she had been leaving home while I was at work.
We can't ignore this situation any longer. Agreeing with John's words, I also began to suspect that Mary might be hiding something. One day, when I got home, I waited until Sean was in the shower and picked up his smartphone. Who is Sean always messaging? What I saw were intimate messages between Sean and Mary. Sean, Mary, what's going on here? Are they having an affair? I decided to confront Sean as soon as he got out of the shower. Sean, what's the meaning of these messages?
Hey, don't go through my phone. It's nothing. Mary is your sister, right? What's wrong with being close to your sister-in-law?
Even if she's my sister, these messages are too intimate. It's strange. Sean tried to make excuses, but I couldn't believe his words anymore. I couldn't keep this to myself and decided to talk to my parents. I called my parents and explained the situation. Dad, Mom, I have something to tell you. It seems Sean and Mary are having an affair.
What? Mary and Sean, are you sure?
I don't want to believe it either, but I saw the evidence.
Emily, that must be tough. But don't worry, we're here for you.
Their words gave me some comfort, but the problem wasn't solved yet. I also needed to tell John, Mary's husband, about this. Thinking about how shocked John would be pained me, but I couldn't hide the truth. John, there's something I need to talk to you about, Mary and Sean.
Emily, what's going on with Mary and Sean?
I discovered that they're having an affair. It might be hard to believe, but here is the evidence. I showed John the images of their text messages.
Is this really true? I can't believe it.
At first, John couldn't believe it, but he had to accept the reality after seeing the evidence. Mary was still gone. She was probably staying at a hotel somewhere.
Emily, let's figure out a solution together. How should we deal with Sean and Mary?
So, we decided to work together as a family to come up with a plan to confront Sean and Mary. The next morning, I woke up to a quiet bedroom, and when I looked beside me, Sean was gone. I searched the house, but he was nowhere to be found, and some of his belongings were missing. Sean had left too. He was probably with Mary. To confirm this, I quickly contacted my parents and John, and we decided to gather at John's house to strategize. We decided to change the house environment while Sean and Mary were away. We cleared out all of Sean's belongings and removed Mary's space so that when they returned, there would be no place for them. We began working together to erase any traces of them from the house. Let's start with Sean's belongings. I'll begin with the closet. I opened the bedroom closet and took out all of Sean's clothes. Suits, casual wear, shoes, and accessories all went into boxes. My parents helped, so the work went faster than I expected. That's done. Next, let's clear out the study. In the study, there were Sean's work documents, books, and a computer. We packed everything into boxes, making it easy for him to take them when he returned. We cleaned up the desk and shelves, removing any traces of Sean. Next is the living room. Don't forget the photos and small items. The living room had photos and mementos of Sean. I took them down and packed them into boxes. We cleared out small items and hobbies, making the living room look clean and uncluttered. Mom, let's also clear up Mary's space. We'll pack all her belongings too.
Yes, Emily, let's tidy up Mary's room.
Together with my mom, we went to Mary's room and packed her clothes, cosmetics, books, and small items into boxes. We cleaned up her space, erasing any trace of Mary. We even rearranged the furniture so it would feel different when she returned. John, let's leave Harold's room as it is. He needs a place where he feels secure.
You're right, Emily. Harold is innocent in all this.
Once we finished tidying up the house, it felt like a new place. We erased all traces of Sean and Mary, so when they returned, they would feel out of place. Now we're ready. I wonder how they'll react when they come back.
Emily, this is going to feel good. We'll make them understand the consequences of their actions.
Yes, Mom, but this is just the beginning. We'll keep a close eye on how they respond. We decided as a family to stick together and continue ignoring Sean and Mary. It was the first step towards reclaiming our peaceful lives. I contacted Sean's workplace to inform them that he had left and to inquire about his whereabouts.
Emily, are you sure about this? Contacting his workplace is quite a risk.
Dad, I've made up my mind. I need to know where Sean is. I called Sean's boss, told him that Sean had left home, and asked about his whereabouts. The boss was surprised but listened to me seriously.
Sean has gone missing. I see. Sean has taken some time off. I don't know his exact location, but he mentioned taking a vacation.
I understand. I'm sorry for any inconvenience. Please let me know if you hear anything. Although I didn't get specific information about Sean's location, I was somewhat relieved to know that he was on leave and not missing from work without notice.
Emily, at least now we have some idea of Sean's movements, but we still need to find out exactly where he is.
Yes, Mom, we need to find out where Sean and Mary are. That evening, I finally discovered where Sean and Mary were staying. A friend had seen them at a nearby hotel. Thanks to this crucial information, their whereabouts were finally revealed. Dad, Mom, John, I found out where Sean and Mary are staying. They're at a nearby hotel.
I see. Finally, Emily. Now we can move to the next step. What's your plan?
First, we'll continue ignoring them. We'll act as if they don't exist. Let's see how confused they get. That night, I mentally planned the next steps. We decided to continue ignoring Sean and Mary as a family. The next day, I went to work and tried to carry on with my daily routine. Even though Sean and Mary might return from the hotel, I made sure to act as usual. Our family was united in treating Sean and Mary as if they didn't exist. On the weekend evening, Sean came home. I heard the front door open, and my parents and I calmly faced the moment.
I'm home.
But I ignored Sean and acted as if nothing had happened. Sean was surprised and confused to see the house completely changed.
What is this? All my stuff is gone.
When Sean entered the living room, he was even more shocked.
Emily, what is going on? All my things are gone.
I continued eating my dinner calmly, ignoring Sean's words. My parents also ignored him and continued eating.
Emily, listen to me.
Meanwhile, Mary returned to John's house. When she opened the front door, she saw John and Harold watching TV in the living room. Mary stood there, shocked and confused.
I'm home.
However, John and Harold ignored her and continued watching the TV as if nothing had happened. John seemed to enjoy his time with Harold, completely ignoring Mary. Harold, too, focused on the TV with a blank expression.
John, why is this happening? All my stuff is gone.
John and Harold continued watching the TV, chatting happily without paying any attention to Mary's return.
Harold, what did you do at kindergarten today?
Today, I did some drawing, Dad.
Sean and Mary stood stunned in their respective homes. Sean, standing in the living room, wore a look of confusion and bewilderment. But we decided to completely ignore him and continue with our daily lives.
Emily, please listen to me.
Hey, today's stir fry is really delicious.
Yes, it is, Emily. Your cooking is always the best.
We pretended not to hear Sean's desperate voice and continued eating. Ignoring everything Sean said was unbearable for him.
Why are you doing this, Emily?
Meanwhile, Mary was getting the same treatment at John's house. Seeing John and Harold watching TV in the living room, Mary was filled with confusion and sadness.
Why is this happening? Where's all my stuff?
But John and Harold ignored her and continued talking about the TV show.
Here's the drawing I did at kindergarten.
Great job, Harold. I'd love to draw with you sometime.
John, Harold, please listen to me.
Mary's tearful plea had no effect, and John and Harold continued their conversation with smiles. Mary stood there, not knowing what to do, feeling completely lost. As days went by, Sean and Mary felt increasingly isolated as they continued to be ignored at home.
Emily, please listen to me. We were wrong. We regret it.
Sean, we've decided to treat you as if you don't exist. If you regret it, do so on your own. We coldly brushed him off, continuing to ignore everything he said. The isolation at home was unbearable for Sean. Mary faced the same situation. John and Harold showed no interest in her and continued ignoring her pleas.
John, Harold, please listen to me.
Dad, I played with my friends at kindergarten today.
That sounds fun, Harold.
Realizing she was completely ignored, Mary felt more isolated. As a family, we united to treat Sean and Mary as if they didn't exist, gradually increasing their mental burden. They had lost their place in the family. Days of being ignored at home continued for Sean. Sean decided to return to work after his leave, hoping to break the situation even a little. In the morning, Sean walked to work with heavy steps. As he entered the office building, all his coworkers' eyes turned toward him. Feeling uncomfortable under their gaze, he tried to act as normal as possible.
Good morning.
Morning, Sharon. Haven't seen you around lately. What's up?
Just some family issues.
His coworkers looked at him with a mix of understanding and something else, which made Sean uneasy as he walked to his desk. As he worked through the morning, his boss called him in.
Sean, I need to talk to you.
Yes, what is it?
Entering his boss's office, the door closed behind them, creating a private space.
Sean, what's going on? I got a call from your wife saying you left home.
Sean's face showed surprise and confusion.
No, that's not true. It's just some family problems.
Really? There's a lot of talk about you here at the office. Family issues affecting work are a problem.
I'm really sorry. I'll resolve it right away.
His boss gave Sean a cold stare and continued.
Until your family issues are resolved, it's better if you take some time off and focus on that. We can't have work being affected.
But I can't just take time off.
In your current state, your work will suffer. Take some time off, resolve your issues, and then come back.
Sean couldn't argue with his boss's words and stood there in silence.
Understood. I'll take the time off.
Leaving his boss's office, Sean felt the eyes of his coworkers on him again as he returned to his desk. He could hear them whispering.
Hey, do you think it's true?
Seems like it. His wife called in after all.
Sounds tough.
Trying to endure the whispers, Sean started packing up his desk. A sense of isolation and anxiety swirled within him, pushing him to his mental limits. During lunch break, Sean decided to eat alone. As he looked for a seat in the cafeteria, he saw his coworkers gathered, chatting happily. But as soon as he approached, their laughter stopped, and they fell silent, staring at him.
Can I sit here?
Sure, go ahead.
They awkwardly made room for him, but no one resumed the conversation. Sean ate his lunch in awkward silence and returned to work, but he couldn't focus on anything. In the evening, even after the end of the workday, Sean sat at his desk, just waiting for time to pass. He didn't want to go home, but he also had no place at work. The reality pushed him even further.
Sean, go home and rest for today.
His boss's cold voice came from behind, and Sean slowly stood up.
Yes, understood.
Sean left the office with heavy steps, tormented by feelings of loneliness and despair on his way home. Having lost his place both at home and at work, he had no idea what to do next. That night, Sean headed back to the hotel to meet up with Mary.
I can't take this anymore.
I don't know what to do either, but we have nowhere to go back to.
Mary, unable to bear being ignored at home any longer, decided to return to work. Though she had been a stay-at-home mom, she decided to consult her former employer about reinstatement. Mary carefully got ready and headed to the company. When she arrived, she felt the eyes of her former co-workers on her.
Mary, long time no see. What brings you here?
I have some personal issues and would like to return to work.
Her co-workers looked at her with understanding, but also something else in their expressions. Feeling their gazes, Mary headed to the HR department. She requested a meeting with the HR manager, who promptly attended to her.
Mary, it's been a while. You want to return to work. What's going on?
Nervously, Mary explained her situation.
Actually, due to some family issues, I've been away from home for a while, but now I want to work again.
I see, but I've heard some rumors. Seems like your family issues are significant.
Mary's face showed surprise and confusion.
Yes, there are problems at home, but they won't affect my work.
However, there's quite a bit of talk about you in the company. Before approving your return, we'll need to look into the situation further.
But I really want to work.
I understand, but please be aware that this will take some time.
The HR manager calmly concluded the conversation, prompting Mary to leave the office. Feeling unsatisfied, Mary left the HR office. As she walked through the company, she overheard the whispers of her former co-workers.
Hey, is Mary planning to come back?
Not sure, but I've heard she has family problems. Will she be okay?
Enduring these words, Mary headed for the exit. With a sense of isolation and anxiety swirling inside her, she decided to go to the cafeteria to try having lunch with her former co-workers. As she looked for a seat in the cafeteria, she saw them gathered and talking happily. But as soon as Mary approached, their laughter stopped, and they fell silent, staring at her.
Can I sit here?
Sure, go ahead.
They awkwardly made room for her, but the conversation did not resume. After finishing her lunch, Mary was called back by the HR manager.
Mary, we need to talk.
Yes, what is it?
Regarding your request to return to work, we've determined that it's not possible under the current circumstances. You should focus on your family issues for now.
Mary was shocked.
But I want to work. My family issues won't affect my job.
I'm sorry, but as a company, we can't take that risk. Please come back once your issues are resolved.
With a cold stare from the HR manager, Mary left the office. The looks from her coworkers were painful, and Mary began to feel the mental strain. Having lost her place both at home and at work, Mary had no idea what to do next. That night, Mary headed back to the hotel to meet up with Sean.
Sean, I can't take this anymore. What should we do?
Mary, I don't know either, but we definitely have nowhere to go back to.
They both felt the full weight of the consequences of their actions. That night, I decided to advance our plan with my family. We decided to expose Sean's affair at his workplace to corner him and Mary further. Mom, we're going to take this a step further. I'm going to let Sean's workplace know about the affair.
Got it, Emily. We'll support you. So let's do this together.
I headed to Sean's workplace. At the reception, I asked to see Sean's boss, and I was soon escorted in.
Emily, what brings you here?
As Sean's boss welcomed me, I began to speak with determination. I need to talk to you about Sean. You might know he's been taking time off due to family issues, but I want to tell you the details.
Details? What kind of issues?
I took a deep breath and continued. The truth is, Sean has been having an affair with my sister, Mary. This has caused serious problems at home, and that's why he left. Sean's boss looked shocked and confused.
Is that true?
Yes, here is the evidence. I showed him the screenshots of the messages between Sean and Mary. The boss reviewed the content and thought deeply.
This is a serious issue. It will undoubtedly affect the workplace. Understood. We need to address Sean's actions seriously. Trust within the workplace is crucial.
The boss decided to report Sean's affair to the company's ethics committee.
Thank you, Emily. We'll take appropriate action as a company.
Thank you. I hope this helps improve the situation even a little. I thanked the boss and left the office. The next day, Sean was called in by his boss and went to the office, but the atmosphere had changed drastically. The looks directed at Sean were even colder, and he overheard the whispers of his coworkers.
Hey, is it true? Sean's having an affair.
Seems like it. And with his wife's sister, no less. Unbelievable.
How? How did they find out?
Sean was summoned by his boss and questioned with a stern attitude.
Sean, have a seat.
His boss spoke in a calm tone, but his words were unforgiving.
Sean, to be honest, your family issues are significantly affecting the workplace. Your actions have lowered the office morale.
Sean could only listen in silence.
It's become difficult for you to continue working here. As a company, we've decided to recommend that you resign.
At those words, Sean's mind went blank.
Resign.
Yes, to avoid further problems and for your own sake, we believe resignation is the best option.
Sean was speechless, just staring at his boss. His mind was swirling with the reality that he had lost both his family bonds and his place at work.
Understood. I will resign.
His boss nodded deeply and instructed him to start the resignation process. Sean's steps were heavy, and a feeling of despair grew inside him. As he stepped outside, a cold wind hit his face. Sean stood there, motionless. Meanwhile, Mary's abandonment of household chores and childcare had become known to those around her, and the attitudes of her friends and acquaintances changed drastically. Friends she had been close with started to distance themselves. Calls and messages from friends decreased, and Mary began to feel increasingly isolated. She felt the cold stares of other mothers and lost the courage to speak to them. She overheard their whispers. I heard she abandoned her childcare. And is it true? Her poor child. They were whispering about those things to each other. Feeling unbearable, Mary tried to reach out to a friend, but there was no reply. Everyone was avoiding Mary, and she felt truly isolated. Then we decided to take the next step. We resolved to file for divorce from our respective partners and cut ties completely. I finished consulting with a lawyer and prepared to formally proceed with divorce and alimony claims. John did the same, contacting his lawyer to proceed with divorce and alimony claims against Mary. Sean, considering everything, I've decided to divorce you. There's no reason for us to stay together anymore. I'm also going to claim alimony.
Emily, please wait. I'm sorry. I'll make it right from now on.
It's too late, Sean. Your actions ruined our relationship. Alimony is only fair. From now on, we'll go our separate ways. Sean looked devastated, but my resolve was firm, and he couldn't say anything more. Similarly, John filed for divorce and alimony against Mary.
Mary, considering your actions, I've decided to divorce you. We can't stay together any longer. I'll be claiming alimony as well.
John, please reconsider. I'm sorry. I'll make it right from now on.
Mary, it's too late. Your actions destroyed our relationship. I'll take care of Harold. I can't trust you with him. Alimony is only fair, and I'll also be asking for child support.
Mary couldn't change John's mind. She regretted her mistakes, but it was too late. After that, John and I each kept in touch with our lawyers and formally proceeded with the divorce and alimony claims. A few weeks later, the divorces were finalized and our alimony claims were approved. We started our new lives. Sean and Mary were forced to live with loneliness and regret. Without jobs and burdened with debts from alimony and child support, they faced days of working tirelessly. As for us, I began visiting John and Harold's home more frequently, and together, we slowly started to reclaim positive days. One day, we planned a picnic. John prepared sandwiches, and I made some treats for Harold. When we arrived at the park, we spread out a blanket on the spacious grass and laid out the food we brought. Harold ran around happily, and John and I felt our hearts warm at his innocent smile.
Emily, thanks for the treats. They're so good.
Harold said happily. After the picnic, Harold came up to me and quietly said,
I wish you could be my mom, Emily.
His words filled my heart, and tears welled up in my eyes. Thank you, Harold. John heard the exchange and said with a gentle smile,
Emily, you're already like family to Harold. Let's keep spending time together.
I deeply appreciated his words and firmly held John and Harold's hands. As a new family, we vowed to continue building happy days together.